Good day everyone! For those foreign nurses aspiring to be USRN, you have to watch this video first before choosing a path, because I'll be discussing about staffing agency versus direct hire agency coming here to the US. We'll be discussing about the pros and cons, the difference between the two, and I'll be showing you how big of a difference from choosing one from the other. So stay tuned and watch till the end. I'm Nurse Juan Cruz, your OFW nurse. Disclaimer, I'll be discussing based on my own personal experience as well as the experience from my own colleagues and friends here in the US. So let's start. Number 1, definition. If you're going to be a direct hire agency, it means you'll technically be part of that particular hospital here in the US. Yes, you will be part of it because the agency will only be assisting you going here to the US. After that, mostly there won't be any more interactions between the two of you, because you will have direct communication between your HR or the hospital and you. So there's nothing in between. But if you're going for staffing agency, there's always someone in the middle, which is your employer. Your employer or your staffing agency will be in the middle between the employer and you. So technically, you're not really under that hospital, but you're employed under your staffing agency. So both of them will help you come here to the US. But I'll be discussing about the differences between the two, so you guys will have more information in order for you to make a proper decision in the end. Okay? So let's start. Let's start with the difference between the salary. If you're under a staffing agency, like for example, for me, my starting salary rate was 20.5 per hour under the staffing agency. But if you're under a direct agency, like some of my colleagues who came here, their starting salary was 27.5. So around $7 difference. $7 per hour. Okay? So if you add up per month, per week, per year, it will definitely be big. $7 is really a big chunk. It's almost like a 40% of my hourly rate. I think for me, the reasonable difference should be around maybe like $2 to $3. If that's the case, that will be more acceptable for me. But $7, that's too much, really. That's too much. That's why when I found out, I really got mad, and there's a point of me wherein I felt really disappointed and discouraged that the path that I chosen was really a wrong one. So that was my bad decision for me for choosing or not knowing what to choose. Then for the overtime rate, both of the agencies will give you 1.5% of your hourly rate. If under agency with a 20.5, if you times that with 1.5, that will be $30.75 per hour. But if you're under the direct hire, since the base pay is 27.5, times that with 1.5%, that will be 41.25%. So that's roughly around $10 to $11 difference per hour. So that's how big a difference it is. So even though they offer the same 1.5 increase for overtime, but the base pay of your hourly rate is such a huge difference. So it really reflects whenever you do the math on it. So it's really wiser to choose the one with a bigger base pay. Then for some direct agency, they offer like a weekend pay, or a different weekend rate. So in other words, they pay more. But for staffing agency, sometimes they don't offer this kind of bonuses. So here in working the weekends really pays more. But if you're under the staffing agency, so you won't have a big difference, or you won't have any difference at all. The next will be the benefits. In some staffing agency, you can see they advertise that they're gonna give you $1,000 bonus or sign-in bonus. $1,000. So that will be like 50,000 pesos, right? So it's like, wow, 50,000 just for signing in. But no. So don't be blind, don't be fooled, or don't be greedy, because 50,000 is nothing. When I arrived here in the US, I found out that mostly the sign-in bonus will be around $5,000. $5,000. Okay? So versus to your $1,000 out of the 5, so it's just like 1/5. And even for the nursing home hospitals here, they offer the same sign-in bonus, which is $5,000. And even some hospitals here, they even offer $12,000. I think someone posted in Lefora for nurses. So they place in there $12,000. One of my colleague back in Singapore, she was asked to move in, and they had to pay her $15,000 as a sign-in bonus for the 2-year contract. Now you see, 1,000 versus $15,000. I'm sorry for those who did sign for the 1,000 sign-in bonus, but the truth hurts. The truth really hurts, and you guys are not alone, because I am also a victim. So I am in the same boat as you guys. And it sucks, right? It sucks. By the way, most of the sign-in bonus are not given one time big time. Normally, they'll give it to you like every 6 months for the span of 2 years. So it's like every 6 months you're going to have an extra bonus or like a mid-year pay or mid-year bonus, which is really nice for direct hire agencies. But for the staffing agency, do this. Put this in your mouth here, then open. Nga nga. Nga nga, nada, nothing, zero. Also, under for the benefits, if you're a staffing agency, technically you're not under the hospital. So you might not get all the benefits which is being offered for those employed or under the hospital itself. For example, here in our hospital, when you are commented by one of the patients like for doing a good job, they will give you $15 bonus or $15 per comment per patient if you're a regular employee or under direct agency employee. So they're gonna give you $15. But if you're under staffing agency, they will only give you a letter. A letter that says, thank you. That's it. Even though you did all the work, you provided everything that patient needs, then here comes another staff who just came in and smiles at her and was happy because how the services were done. But the other staff gets the $15,000. But the other staff gets the $15 and you don't. Just because you're under a staffing agency. I know it's only like $15, so it's not much, but you know the feeling that you're being robbed or you're supposed to get that or the same treatment, it really makes you feel down, like feel discriminated or feel in a way that you don't belong. It's like you're not doing a good job. Whenever I receive that kind of letter, it feels like a slap on my face. So sometimes I'd rather not look at the letter or just like throw it directly to the trash can because it is worthless. It is. So there are more benefits that I'm not entitled because I'm a staffing agency. So it sucks. But it's not all the time. Because sometimes they do offer us the same things, like they gave us free mugs, t-shirt, jacket, umbrella, and lunch boxes, like a container, and a lot of those small things. But some of them, you're still gonna be left out. The next is freedom. If you're under a direct agency or under employed by that particular hospital, you have the freedom of growth or going to a different department within the 2-year period or within the contract period. So if ever I'm a medical surgical floor nurse and I wanted to transfer to the ICU and there's a vacancy, I can do that because I am under that particular hospital and there's nothing in my contract that says I'm not supposed to move into the different department. But if you're under a staffing agency, they won't let you because you signed that shitty contract under one department and normally they will hold you on that area. They will definitely hold you because they don't want to have you move around and start all over again from training someone else. So they would rather have someone senior that will last for the end of the contract, which will last around 2 years to 3 years. So if you're on the management part, definitely I will keep you. I will try to keep you as much as I can and it's in your contract. So you don't really have a choice. Even though you're really stressed out and you don't want the environment or work environment, you can't do anything. You have to stay. Then I saw one post. If you're a direct agency, you have the freedom to look another job. I don't know with other staffing agency, but in my case, we are allowed to find a second job. And some of my colleagues did try to find a second job in a different facility. So for us, it was okay. But I can speak for all staffing agency. If you are one of those agencies that says that they're not allowed to find another job, please comment down below if it's okay with you, just to have like a sharing of information. But I really think most of the staffing agency will also allow you to work because I think that's your right. And as long as it won't affect your current employment or current contract, I think that will be good. I think most of them will just ask for formality or ask them like a permission just for them to have like heads up, just in case they want to know what's happening for you guys. Okay. The next will be a difference between the health insurance. For those not yet aware, medical insurance in the US is not free. Normally, you have to pay something for it every month or every paycheck. But not all. Not all states do that. Someone posted in one of my videos when I created the insurance before, she posted that she doesn't have to pay anything for her health insurance in her particular hospital. I think she was based in California, so she said it's totally free for her, which is really nice. But most of us here in the US, you have to pay for it. The common notion is if you're going through direct agency, you're going to pay less for your health insurance. And if you're going through a staffing agency, most of the time you'll be paying more. That's what the common notion is. Like for me, since I'm at a staffing agency, I have to pay $450 per paycheck. It's for me and for my wife. And for that $450, like for me, on my part, there's like a 60 to 70% discount. But for my wife, I have to pay full for her. So that's why I have to pay $450. But if I'm paying it full without the discount, I might be paying around $600 or like almost $600. So that's big difference. So good thing my staffing agency is giving us like a discount when it comes to our medical insurance. But for some of my colleagues who came here through direct agency, they're paying for him and for her wife, they're paying around $500 for both of them. It's more expensive because they have a better kind of insurance as compared to the one we're having. So price-wise, I think it's almost the same in our hospital. But it's not the same in other hospitals. I think someone commented before, I think they are only paying like $40 for their medical insurance, which is really nice. Sana all. I wish everyone has that kind of medical insurance. But sometimes there's a catch. Like for example, here in our hospital, sometimes they offer like $42 for those nurses who doesn't want to get insurance under the hospital. So it's $42. But if you opt for getting the insurance, you will only be getting $36 per hour. So there's like a $6 difference. So it sounds like if you're getting the $36, it sounds like it's free, but it's actually not because you're having a cut from your paycheck. So if you compute it that way, so I think you'll be paying the same thing like what we were paying. That's one example of how it is when it comes to insurance and pay here. Next will be the buyout price for your contract. If you want to buy your contract, normally it's more cheaper if you're going under direct agency. You can ask my friends. It is more cheaper versus if you're going to the staffing agency. I think for some of the direct contracts that I know, I think they will have to pay for the entire contract will be like $12,000 to around $15,000 for them to break that contract. But most of these contracts are prorated. Meaning, example, you already served for 1 year. So if your contract says $12,000 and you already served 1 year, so most likely you only have to pay $6,000. So which is half. And $6,000 is really doable. But if you're under a staffing agency, you definitely have to pay more. Some agency will even ask you to pay $50,000 in order for you to break their contract. 50. If you convert that to Philippine peso, it will be like almost 2 million or more than 2 million pesos. So that's really a big chunk. And $50,000 is really big already, even for the US standards, okay? Then I also saw one of the comment in Facebook or in the referral for nurses. It says there's a computation for breaking your contract. For example, I think you have to pay like $10 times the remaining of number of hours you have to serve. So I think if you have to serve like maybe 1 year more, I think it will be equivalent to $25,000. $25,000. It is still big. Big as compared to you getting like the $6,000 from serving 1 year versus the 25. So there's really a big difference. So most likely you'll be stuck with the staffing agency, even though you really hate the contract or you really hate the working place. It's up to you if you really want to pay and break your contract and have to get a chunk of money, but that's a big chunk. Sometimes it's not worth it. So some of us, or rather most of us, will just stay versus those who are coming through direct agency. It's like buying your contracts like after 1 year. The next will be the treatment between these two agencies. In fairness for me, under a staffing agency, they really helped me settle in here in the US. They fetched me from the airport. They helped me go to the bank. They helped me find a place for me to stay in. They assisted me for the medical hospital, their paperwork for the endorsement of the documents from one state to the other. So mostly they did a lot of things for us. So that's really a good thing for going to staffing agency, which is I'm really blessed for having such a good liaison officer then, but not now. In comparison with the direct hire for some of my friends, what happened for them is their agency just gave them money for them to ride from the airport going to their place. So they're the one who tried to find their own place, where to stay, how to go to the bank, find all of those things for them to be able to adjust coming here to the US. So most likely it's like a DIY for them as well. Same thing with the processing, doing the paperwork for the direct hire processing. So in other words, most of the direct agency will just help you come here to the US. Then after that, mostly you're on your own. And that's the main difference between getting with a staffing agency, wherein since they're your employer, you'll be communicating with them throughout the end of your contract. So there's a constant communication And most of them will come and visit you just to check on you, give you some treat, go eat somewhere, something like that. So there's a constant communication. But just think of this. Most of my friends who are from direct agency, they were able to do it. They were able to establish without a problem. Maybe they had some few problems, but nothing that they couldn't overcome. So it's really doable. So you just have to plan more when coming here to the US. So once they settled in, so it's practically the same thing with us. So there's not much of a difference. I don't want to be biased between the different direct hire agencies or versus a different staffing agency. So I won't mention any of their names, okay? But if you ever decide to go one of their agency, please put my name as referral, okay? So overall, I really encourage for you guys to go for direct agency if you have the budget or you have the time for you to do all the processing. I really do encourage. Because like for me, I really imagine that I will achieve my American dream if I arrive here. But unfortunately, the salary that I'm earning right now, or whatever I'm saving right now, I'm saving more when I was working in Singapore versus what I'm saving here in the US. So in order for you to have the better version of your American dream, choose direct agency. Really. I really do recommend that, okay? If you want to take a peek at my monthly expenses, I'll post a video over here, okay? Just click this link over up here. So make sure to share this video to some of your friends and relatives who are aspiring to be USRN before they make their decisions. Okay? Before we end, shout out first to a few of my beloved followers, Miss Diane King from Singapore, and to all my AMK family there. Regards to all. Hi! Then to Ilocana nurse, Miss Normita Alcayaga, who is also working from Singapore. And last but not the least, RM. Hi po. Thank you. Thank you guys for subscribing and thank you for supporting my channel. If you guys have any questions or suggestions or any comments, please put it down below, okay? So for those new viewers, please click the like button, subscribe button, and please share to your friends. Again, I'm Nurse Juan de la Cruz, your OFW nurse. Thank you for watching. God bless. Bye-bye. Stay safe.